fire emergencies. When you turn on the news, and you see the reporter with the fire line behind them burning down the hill, you see something different than what I see. I think of all the support that goes into making that firefighting effort possible. I performed camp support at a wildfire. I will tell you my story. I will also tell you what they don't tell you about fire emergencies. Here's how the day went. We packed up our gear and went to the fire camp. Once we got the fire camp, we set up our tents. Then we went to the command center area to get our assignments. The fire camp was just being set up. It was the second day of the fire. The first job we were given was to work with the inmate crew to set up the kitchen. An army marches on its belly. That day there was about 1,500 firemen. We helped them set up the cold food area, which had refreshments. There was also a salad bar area with fresh fruit, desserts, and salads. Later on the first day I was picked to be in charge of water ice, Gatorade, and sack lunches. When the fire first starts, typically the firemen are on the line for 24 to 36 hours. The work that they do when a wildfire is mind-blowing. When they talk about the fire line, most of that fire line hand-cut with modified rakes, shovels, picks, and other hand tools. If you're lucky, there's a bulldozer. The next interesting thing about those fires is most of the time they are prisoners working on those fires. The part of the fire that gets the most airtime on the news is the air crews. In reality, the air crew is slowing down the fire so that the teams on the ground can catch up to the fire as it is advancing. Each hand crew was approximately 20 to 30 men or women. It was my job to make sure they had all the water and hydration be needed to prevent them from falling out while working. My direct supervisor had been a fireman for 20 years. He told me that every crew was allowed 4 cases of water, 2 cases of Gatorade, plus 10 bags of ice, plus 1.5 lunches per fireman. 99% of the time the person in charge of the inmate firefighting crew would take what they were supposed to get, no argument. Every now and then you would get the other 1% of a motherfucker. Typically those people were corrections officers. Since they were correctional officers, they would forget that they were not in charge of everyone else on earth. They were only in charge of their prisoners. Even though I was a low-level person, I was the master of their fate as far as the waters, Gatorades, and lunches. I had absolute authority to open those items. I did this for 12 hours a day for 21 days. The other interesting thing about a fire emergency is waste. Cases of water and Gatorade, everybody knows how much they basically cost. The lunches is, however, the wholesale price was $8.50. The contents of each lunch were as follows: 2 cans of Kern's Nectar's fruit juice, 2 large full-size burritos like you would get in a convenience store, 2 pieces of fruit, and 2 full-size candy bars. We got those lunches delivered every day on semi-trucks. Once they were in our possession more than 36 hours, we were no longer allowed to serve them. They had to be disposed of. Then an additional 10%, the sack lunches we served were probably local market. This was because we were required to use a certain percentage of items from the local economy. The local lunches had sub sandwiches in them, 2 candy bars, a bag of chips, and a bag of pistachios grown locally, and 2 cans of fruit juice. Those were the most sought after lunches. The incident commander of the fire loved those lunches, so most of the time, those lunches went to the incident commanders and the support staff in charge of the fire. For dinner, each firefighter was given half of a barbecue chicken, along with 1 or 2 baked potatoes, sort of cooked vegetable. There were also laundry facilities, so you can get your clothes washed every day. Every fireman was required to swap out their batteries in their flashlights and other battery-operated equipment every day, and all the old batteries went into a box to be thrown away. They were allowed to swap out all the other equipment as needed to as it got damaged or dirty. At the high point of the fire emergency, 3,500 firemen from all over America. Think about how much that costs and the logistics involved. That's what I see when there is wildfire on TV. I remember how much goes into making sure the fire is put out. Because trust me, it's a monumental effort. And no one ever tells that story. It really is something amazing to see.